sure that we get everything that we need. So we are now recording. All right, everybody ready?
Mm-hmm.
And I've hit start streaming, so I think that we are going live. Hello everybody, welcome back to another episode of Character Crockpot. I'm JD, you can find me online at geekydoom.
And I'm Caitlin, you can find me at Miss Caitlin Day on Twitter.
And today we're going to make a Dungeons and Dragons character for a friend of the show, Hazzelhalfblood.
Mm-hmm.
You want to tell us a little about that character, Kate?
Sure thing. So today we will be making Feyera, who is an elven bard from a noble house who is raised by pirates. Her physical description is, Feyera is a wide-eyed, youthful girl that maintains her innocence and optimistic views of the world. She has large blue eyes and pale porcelain skin with a smattering of freckles on her face. She has long, light blonde hair that sits just above her butt. Its long, loose curls hang loosely under the flower crown that she makes when the ship is at port. Her dress is constructed out of any pastel pink or purple dress that the crew finds on their journey. It's a hodgepodge of light lace and flowing fabrics. She sports a leather belt across the front of her that holds her rapier and lute. The belt matches her porcelain pirate boots. So I'm very excited to do this because there's going to be a lot of layers to that dress.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really excited to make a pirate. I love pirates.
Pirates are the best.
So I'm going to be building out the character entirely in D&D Beyond.
Mm-hmm. And I'll be drawing the character in Photoshop.
So we'll hop right into it.
Yay! All right.
I'm going to shut off all of the homebrew content and everything. We're going to build this entirely out with WotC approved stuff.
Whoop whoop.
Yes. And I know what game this is being used for, so I'm going to make this an advancement type XP.
Mm-hmm.
I'll stick with fixed HP. And I'm not going to allow the use of feats and multi-class. That might be evil to some people, but that's how we're rolling for this game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we're going to use encumbrance. Absolutely. So, Kate, what would you say your favorite Pirates-themed thing is?
Can you be more specific what you mean by pirate themed?
Oh, so like I love Pirates of the Caribbean, like
Oh.
the whole movie franchise. That's one of my favorite pirate things. What would you say your favorite pirate-themed piece of like literature, movie, or something would be?
You know, I'm not really sure. I like Pirates of the Caribbean too. At least the first one. I'm not too big of a fan on like all the other ones.
Right on. Yeah, Johnny Depp in the first one was amazing.
I feel like they couldn't quite recapture what made the first one good.
That happens with a lot of franchises where they try to go on and make multiple sequels. Sometimes you just can't capture what was good about the original.
Yeah. So it just feels kind of weird. It's like, but this wasn't like what was good about the first one, really.
So for Feyera, what subtype of elf are we going with?
Really?
Is it high elf?
I think it's high elf.
High elf? Fantastic. A high elf pirate. I love it.
I have made the legs too long. I have to change that, or else it's going to look weird. Remember, it's never bad to resize proportions in drawing.
You probably want to do that earlier on, right?
Yeah, absolutely, during the sketch phase, because you don't want to get to the line art, like coloring phase, and realize those legs are a bit too long.
Right.
Or the head's too big.
Yeah, I imagine the rework on that gets crazy.
Just got handed something.
Yeah, okay.
What was that?
Ah, nothing of consequence.
Nothing of consequence. Love it.
Alright. So, High Elf. Let's see. High Elves get a cantrip as a racial trait. So we get to pick a spell right off the bat that we want our pirate princess here to have.
What does she has access to?
Just a ton of spells from the wizard and sorcerer spell lists.
Alright, so arcane magic.
Arcane magic, absolutely.
Tis what the elves are known for.
So I'm picturing something like fencing ability.
Yeah.
Green Flame Blade. What do you think of that?
That's always a good spell when
Right?
you're doing a melee spellcaster.
Especially because I imagine pirates getting into skirmishes where there are many foes.
Mm-hmm.
And so that gives you the ability to strike somebody and also deal an additional burst of damage to somebody else. Which is just fun.
Yeah, and it's, what is it, a bonus action to cast? Or is it an action and part of the action is you make the hit?
Correct. Part of the action is you make the melee attack.
So it's just a bit of extra damage, pretty much. That is lovely.
Yes. When you're trying to take an enemy vessel, you want every bit of damage you can deal.
Sometimes fire is good.
Absolutely.
Sometimes fire. That sounds like a weird t-shirt.
Sometimes fire is exactly what you want.
I mean, boats are flammable.
Mm-hmm.
That's a fact. That's just a whole lot of wooden cloth, baby.
I'm going to give a bonus language of orc because I like to picture our pirate princess occasionally cursing in orc while on the high seas. And I feel like orc would be a fun language to swear in.
Is this have anything to do with the conversation that happened earlier today?
No, nothing to do with that at all.
What a coincidence, then.
So, we're barding it up, I'm sure, here. Musical instruments. Let's see. What do I picture a pirate playing on the high seas?
I know that Hazzelhalfblood said they had a lute for Feyera.
Well, we'll make the first one a lute.
I know that pirates sometimes have different types of flutes, violins, and maybe bagpipes.
Okay, we can certainly do that. We'll throw a flute in here. Because I like the idea of having a lute and a flute. You said bagpipes. That's fantastic.
It just
I
works.
love bagpipe music, so I'm absolutely going to choose the bagpipes for Feyera.
I can just imagine like a pirate jamming out on a set of bagpipes. You know, it's very easy.
Oh my gosh, yes.
It's very easy to visualize. It's
Absolutely. Let's see here. On the high seas, for skills, you'd want survival.
Yes. Because that's what most dungeon masters will have you roll for, like, boat checks.
Absolutely.
And you don't want your pirate who spent her life on a boat not being able to do the thing she's been doing for years.
Absolutely. And for the same reason, I think that the next two skills should be athletics.
Mm-hmm.
Because it can be exhausting doing all of the laborious activities that maintaining a ship requires. And then also nature. Because, well, the ocean's a part of nature. There's a lot of things out on the high seas you may want to be an expert on. Hazel says in the chat, yes, bagpipes.
We have approval.
That is exactly how we feel about the bagpipes, too, so I'm glad you approve.
Giving a nice dramatic looking pose as well.
Very nice. Like a swashbuckling pose?
More like a dramatic pose.
Like with some flair?
Some flair.
Nice.
She's a bard.
Oh, of course. One must give off a certain sense of style when one is a piratey bard.
Yeah. I mean, like, that's two extravagant professions in one.
True. Okay, so we have our spellcast, we have our bardic inspiration at level 1. We do get some spells, so let's go pick those out. Now, the last time we made a Dungeons and Dragons character,
We also made another seafarer, I think, right?
well, to a lesser extent, we focused on this. We focused all the spells less on the sea, and more on what would make them more effective in business.
Yeah.
So here, I'm looking for spells that would make them effective on the sea, but also make them really effective as a pirate in general. So what would help them swash and buckle better?
In terms of skills.
I'm going to take Vicious Mockery as a cantrip, and the reason
Obviously.
is pirates absolutely... If you imagine when somebody is sword fighting, there's a certain amount of wordplay that goes back and forth, right?
It's the drama.
Absolutely. And just being able to slash some damage with that wordplay, that's what you want.
Plus, bars don't get a lot of damaging cantrips right off the bat. They
Fair
get, like,
enough.
the one. Maybe two.
Let's see here. It's going to be between Blade Ward and True Strike, I think, for the second one.
What does Blade Ward do?
So Blade Ward, when you extend your hand, you trace a sigil of warding in the air. Until the end of your next turn, you have resistance against bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing damage dealt by weapon attacks. And again,
that's an action, though.
But I'm picturing this pirate boarding other ships, right? And you're going to get into skirmishes, you're going to get into melee. So having that little bit of an abjuration benefit, being able to ward off some of that damage, could be a very good thing to have.
But it is an action to cast that, isn't it? Which kind of feels like a waste of an action just to give yourself resistance for a turn, because you can't really attack after that.
That's true.
I've never been a fan of Blade Ward personally. That's all that is, I think.
There's also True Strike.
Yeah. Which
gives you advantage on your next attack, provided that the spell hasn't ended. I think that could be advantageous as well.
Yeah, I guess. Alright, so both of those are actions that do something other than allow you to attack. One gives you advantage on the next attack you make.
Right.
And the other gives you defense resistances for the rest of the turn.
The third one I was thinking about was Thunderclap. Because it plays into the being on the high seas, it plays into the storm theme.
Yeah. Lightning damage has always been associated with the water in D&D.
But whereas we've already taken a damaging cantrip, I wanted one that did something that was a benefit, something that was a buff, a boon.
What other cantrips do they have for bards?
We can go through it. So it's, besides Blade Ward, we've got Dancing Lights. I wouldn't really see that as something that's needed on the high seas, per se.
Plus, as
an
a high
elf, she has that sweet dark vision already.
Yeah.
Friends, I don't really see the need for the Pastel Pirate Princess to go into needing that spell.
Yeah.
Same thing with Light, as Dancing Lights. Mage Hand's always useful, but I really want something that's thematically, on point. Same thing with Message, Minor Illusion, and Prestidigitation. Those are all things where I'm they're very useful.
She is a noble, however, so you could argue Prestidigitation helps keep her, prim and proper on the seas. I guess part of it is cleaning.
But one of the things that Feyera had said was that she wanted to lean into the pirate lifestyle a little bit too.
Okay.
And, spent years at sea with these pirates.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So I think it really comes down to True Strike or Thunderclap as our options. And Hazel, what do you think? If you want to write us in the chat, let us know. What would your preference be? Do you see Feyera being somebody who would want to focus more on having that second damage, or somebody that would have both damage and buff in place?
I just forgot the ears on the elf.
That's a very important part of an elf.
Very physically important feature of the elf.
It's a very important part for most people.
Well, yes. That is correct. Not dark enough green for that sketch.
Yeah, you're right. Blade Ward only lasting for a round. I kind of wish it lasted longer. I mean, it is a cantrip, and I guess that's how they balance it out, right?
But it feels like a bit of a waste of a round. Unless you're purely trying to defend something, but there are very few scenarios in D&D where you're placed in a purely defensive position, where attacking wouldn't be just as good.
For a round or something, but you're right, those are few and far between. Hazel says she wouldn't use Friends. That's too dark for her. She's too trusting to use Friends. What does True Strike do again? Sure. So, True Strike, I'll read the full description. You point a finger at a target within range. Your magic grants you a brief insight into the target's defenses. On your next turn, you gain advantage on your first attack roll on the target, provided the spell hasn't ended. So it provides advantage on the next attack.
Yeah. But you have to spend your entire action casting that.
But as a bard, I mean, it wouldn't necessarily waste your round, right? Because bards get a pretty good amount of bonus actions that they can do as well.
I guess. Yeah.
And especially if you're fighting a creature where it's uncertain whether you're going to hit them or not. That's another area where I find True Strike has a lot of value.
Yeah. But if you do the amount of rolls you're going to do between 2 rounds you could have done not doing that, and the 2 rounds it takes you to cast the spell and then attack, you get the same amount of rolls.
That's true. So if you're playing it purely off of the stats, you do get the 2 rolls.
And just that one of them, they're happening right after each other on the same attack.
Well, Hazel's leaning into True Strike. Says that it seems kind of noble-ish, like a training noble might take that in combat. So
That's fair.
rock and roll. And then we'll look at these first level spells. Okay, so what I'm going to take right off the bat is Featherfall. There are a lot of scenarios on the high seas where one might fall from a distance.
Yes.
So Featherfall, a lot of value there. I think a good damaging one as well is going to be Thunder Wave. So Thunder Wave not only gives you that damage, it's an area of effect, so it could affect more than one target. It also provides a chance to knock the target back. So really it does 3 things at that point.
I have finished my sketch and I'm moving on to the line art section now.
Hey, awesome. Looks good too. I love the coat design.
Yes. Well, it's not really a coat, it's more of a dress.
Ah, okay. Very cool. The Pastel Pirate Princess in a dress on the high seas. I love the concept of this.
Alright.
Let's see. So we're playing up the noble component too.
Yes.
So I think I'm going to take Unseen Servant. You're the noble who's on the high seas. Not all of the pirates are going to serve you like the servants you're accustomed to. So maybe using magic, you on occasion conjure one of your own.
Just go fetch me some water.
Right. I think that'd be a lot of fun. Let's see here. And then I think Heroism.
That's a very bard and noble combination.
Absolutely, right? And then also if you think like you're on the high seas, there are many scenarios where you're going to face terrifying odds, whether it be against storms, large creatures like krakens, things like that. So with Heroism, a willing creature you touch is imbued with bravery. Until the spell ends, the creature is immune to being frightened and gains temporary hit points equal to your spellcasting ability modifier at the start of each of its turns.
Being frightened's not a fun condition, so it's good to have something to get rid of that.
Absolutely. And those are our spells, I think. Alright, now ability scores. So just like last time, we are going to roll them. I have dice that I'm going to be using. These are the dice from the Descent into Avernus set. So the first is an 11. Oh, that's a nice one. We got a 16. Ooh, a 9. A 13. A 15. Oh wow, that's an 18.
Guess we know what's going in charisma.
Absolutely. Alright, so let's do this as manual. And we'll put that 18 into charisma.
That makes that job easy.
Absolutely. Let's see. I think my next is going to be for dexterity. So definitely see this being a character that's dexterous. I love what you're doing with her hair.
Oh yeah.
That's gorgeous.
Thank you.
Constitution. In fact, I think I might make...
Gotta resist that scurvy.
Oh, do we see Feyera, Cait, as being a wise character? Or more of a naive character?
It said she kept her innocence, so I'm gonna say no.
Naive, right?
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna make wisdom the dump stat. We'll put the 9 in there. I think I'll give average strength with an 11, and we'll put the 13 into intelligence. There we go. King Nerdly says he'd like to use an inspiration point to re-roll the 9 for her character. What do we think, Cait? Yay or nay?
I think having negatives makes everything a little bit more fun.
I think so too. I think we're gonna let it roll.
I've played characters with negative stats and their dump stat, and it's pretty fun. It's like, ooh, I sure would like to make an intelligence check with my -1.
Yes. And I know Hazel pretty well. I know that she enjoys the spice of life that can bring on occasion. However, hold on to that inspiration point, King Nerdly. You just might need it one day yourself.
Is that a threat?
Oh, no. Nothing so bold.
Oh. Background
for noble or background for pirate? It's a noble pirate.
Ooh, that's really difficult to say.
I'll defer to chat. Chat, what do we think? Noble or pirate background? Thematically, we're marrying the two together. But the sheet requires us to pick one. So what do you think? Your votes matter. What does each one include? Okay, well, let's talk about that. So, with the noble background, you get a skill proficiency in history and in persuasion. You get to pick one type of a gaming set to be proficient in. Those include a dice set, dragon chess set, playing card set, or a 3-dragon anti-set. You get an additional language and a feature called Position of Privilege. Thanks to your noble birth, people are inclined to think the best of you. You are welcomed in high society, and people assume you have the right to be wherever you are. Common folk make every effort to accommodate you and avoid your displeasure, and other people of high birth treat you as a member of the same social sphere. So it's sort of it's a privilege-based benefit. You sort of you throw the weight of your family name around. With pirate, you get additional skills, tool proficiency in navigator's tools and water vehicles, so boats, and then bad reputation. No matter where you go, people are afraid of you due to your reputation. When you're in a civilized settlement, you can get away with minor criminal offenses, such as refusing to pay for food at a tavern, or breaking down doors at a local shop, since most people are too afraid to report you to the authorities. So kind of the opposite
It is
of one
the exact opposite.
in that regard.
I feel like we should go for noble. But
I feel like that fits more. As we're reading it through, I think that absolutely
How this character was
more.
described, I feel like she's not the kind of person who could get away with breaking down doors and not paying for food.
I see the character like a marshmallow bunny like you see at Easter. I don't necessarily see this character as the terrifying kick down your door type.
Maybe the other pirates in the crew, but not this one.
Yeah.
This one particularly is the marshmallow.
Let's see. I'm going to give them a dice set as their gaming set because I'd like to think that they secretly play Dungeons and Dragons aboard their ship. And you need dice to do that. Knowing the game setting that this character is being created for, I know that the country that they're in, there's a huge population of dwarves. So I'm going to give them a bonus language of Dwarvish.
Oh, alright. That hand looks weird.
Let's see here. I'm thinking either a neutral good or chaotic good for this character. They're definitely good. They're not lawful. I don't see this character as being lawful. They stowed away on a pirate ship, right?
Yeah. Chaotic, I think, because they are a pirate.
Chaotic good.
Whether they realize they're chaotic or not. You know?
King Nerdly and Hazzelhalfblood in the chat have both agreed that she is a peep. Which I'm assuming...
Soft and coated in sugar.
Did you know peeps explode in the microwave? I'm just passing on life lessons that I've learned.
I've never I don't eat peeps, so I would never have found that out.
Yeah, they don't do well under those conditions. Lifestyle aristocratic from the noble, or do we want to lean to the pirate side of lifestyle and say something like modest?
Well, they're living as a pirate, even though they are a noble, so I'd say probably...
I'll go with modest and split the difference, right? So I'm imagining when they're in town, they probably have more comfort than the pirates do, but then they have the pirate lifestyle on the high seas.
Yeah.
King Nerdly wants to know if her character will also explode in the microwave.
I mean, who can say? Who can really say?
What was that movie? I've seen a movie before where they did that. There was like a mob that was shaking a guy down, and they had him in this giant microwave like they used to get the moisture out of wood, I think. It was like a lumberyard microwave. And the guy exploded in the microwave.
What kind of movies do you watch?
Honestly, this was years ago, I think, but it's a real movie.
I have no idea what that movie is, and I'm very terrified to know there's a movie where someone just gets popped in a microwave.
So hair was long blonde hair, right?
Yeah. I cannot get this one hand right. I'm going to have to change this.
Did Feyera mention the eye color?
Blue.
Blue.
I believe.
Let's see. Do we have an age for Feyera?
I'm not sure. Check the description we were sent. She's an elf, but she's, I think, the equivalent of an 18-year-old.
Okay.
Looks like it, but she's an elf, so translation-wise, it's 100 and something, probably.
And the setting that this character is going to be in, it's 100 years old on the dot.
Cool. Perfect.
Mm-hmm. So let's do personality traits.
I'm going to spend so long on this one hand. I'm having such a bad time with it.
I think this one fits with what's been described. Despite my noble birth, I do not place myself above other folk. We all have the same blood.
Yeah, that fits.
Ideals. Ooh, this one's too good. Independence. I must prove that I can handle myself without the coddling of my family. Like,
oh yeah,
right on the money. Hazel says in the chat that she looks good so far.
Thank you. I've been staring at this hand area for a while.
Now, why is that?
I am having a lot of trouble getting this hand to look quite right.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Hands are notoriously a very difficult feature to draw.
I draw all my hands the way that Winnie the Pooh has hands, which is to say, no hands. It's just an arm.
Oh, you have the mitten method.
Yeah.
As someone,
I can't draw fingers at all.
Alright, I think I got it finally. Yeah, there we go. That's good enough.
Alright, and then flaw.
Delete that layer.
I would say that this character's naivety
Probably
would be their biggest flaw. Ooh, I spelled that wrong. But thank you, autocorrect. Alright. Very cool. Organizations. The Pirates of Bakwin. The aboard the good ship.
The good ship.
The Opal Heart. Well, not to delve too much into this setting, but the setting this character is going into, piracy is state-sponsored. They're actually a formal part of the state navy.
Yeah. Remember, one of the pirates is a knight under the kingdom.
Yeah, one of the pirates has been knighted.
What a job. It's like, hey, you're officially sponsored. Go do piracy.
Yep.
And he went, nice. And now he was in charge of a child for a while. D&D, it's the gift that keeps on giving.
That is true. I love this game. So, Captain Theruval Clair is the current captain of the Opal Heart.
It was Wolfgang or something.
Originally it was, but this...
He died?
Yes.
Wow.
There's a timeline in play there. And this isn't a Dread Pirate Roberts situation where the next pirate's also known as Dread Pirate Roberts, but...
It's a dynasty.
Yeah. Mom and Dad.
I think it was mentioned that she has several siblings in something else we got. We were sent a lot of information on this character.
Siblings, various. I'm putting that in parentheses after siblings. So we've got Captain Theruval Clair, Mom and Dad, siblings, and Gustav of House Clair, who would have been the one to, as a noble, teach her how to fence and how to fight with a saber.
Ooh. Alright, back to the dress. I finally finished up the hands. That took me a while.
Enemies, Horatio Chambers. Another pirate aboard the ship. A bit of a suck-up and kinda a dick.
Love it.
I can see that being the type of enemy that she might make aboard the ship. Somebody who, you know, she's naive, she's nice, she's just trying to get by and make a life for herself. And
this
dick comes up and
he's
just,
like, children don't belong on pirate ships.
Yep.
But is he wrong?
No, he's not wrong, but...
It's the principle.
Yeah.
That he's being rude to a child.
Yep. Alright, backstory. Feyera of House Clair has several siblings who all made their own way in the world. In order to make her own way in the world, she ran away and joined a band of pirates.
I love the idea of pirates communally raising a small, very girly child.
Mm-hmm. They taught her very much in the way of seafaring, combat, music, and trade. She has since returned to her noble family and employs the skills she learned on the high seas to use in everyday life. As one does.
As one does. You don't just forget how to be a pirate.
Oh no. No.
Piracy never leaves you.
Let's see here. Equipment. A rapier.
Of course.
An entertainer's pack.
Mm.
A lute.
Yes.
A leather armor and a dagger. a set of fine noble clothes, a signet ring, a scroll of pedigree, and a purse containing 25 gold pieces. We will wear the leather armor, and we will equip the rapier. And with that, we can take our first look at the completed character sheet.
Woohoo.
Level 1 High Elf Bard, ending with 10 hit points. Plus 4 to initiative. Armor class 15. All around, not bad.
Yeah.
Highest skill coming in at Persuasion with a plus 6. Because I made Wisdom the dump stat, despite us giving proficiency in Survival, Survival comes in at only a plus 1.
She needs that proficiency.
At least it's plus 1 to sailing and not a minus 1. That would be awful.
Yeah. And that'll go up eventually.
Oh, for sure. Okay. Definitely liking it. I can see this character using Green Flame Blade a lot.
Jesus.
Alright.
Well, that's not good. My brush just, my pen tool just lost its sensitivity for a second.
What causes something like that?
I'm not super sure.
Oh, fair enough.
I was in the middle of drawing an eye and I move over to the second eye and suddenly the sensitivity is gone and the line for the eye is just big.
Just like a blip?
Thick.
Thick. Hazel, I think in response to us talking about the survival, says she tries her best.
She's doing her best.
And we appreciate it. We believe in Feyera. Alright, well, just like I did with the other character, I'm going to go back through and I'm going to level this character to level 20. So we see what it would look like level 1 and max level. With Cait and I designing it.
Mm-hmm.
I love this. D&D Beyond is like, are you sure you want to level up in the Bard class? Your XP will be increased 355,000 points to match your new level.
Hell yes.
Confirm. Yes, D&D Beyond. This was all in one fell swoop. The combat was a bitch, but we made it.
We killed Tiamat at level 1. It took a while, but we did it.
Thanks, Holy Hand Grenade of Antioch.
Thank you, Bahamut DSX Machina-ing this fight for us. We really appreciate it.
That's right. Daddy Bahamut coming in, killing the enemy, and being like, you can keep the XP.
Daddy Bahamut? Daddy?
What would you call him?
Not that!
Oh, well.
Not that, Jeremy!
Yeah, well, to each their own, Cait. Let's see here.
Guess that's how you get those cleric paladin spells. He's your sugar daddy up in the sky.
Mm-hmm.
I hate that I said that. But it's already been said and I can't take it back because this is the internet.
I'm thinking College of Swords.
Swords?
College of Swords.
What level are you leveling her up to?
20.
20, yeah.
So. And dueling is the fighting style.
Of course.
So when you're wielding a melee weapon in one hand and no other weapons, you get a +2 bonus to damage rolls with that weapon.
Cool.
Oh good, expertise. We're going to need that for survival.
You're not wrong.
And I'm going to actually throw the other one into persuasion, so we build up a skill that's on the noble side.
Unless you really want her to be a shitty pirate.
That's right. A pirate that can talk their way out of things kind of does describe Johnny Depp's character in Pirates of the Caribbean.
It's Johnny Depp, but if he was a pastel pretty girl.
Which is to say Johnny Depp. Let's see here. Ability score increase. Yeah, we'll toss that into charisma. What other things do we get as we go up here? So we got our expertise. We get Font of Inspiration.
Mm-hmm.
You regain all your expended use of Bardic Inspiration when you finish a short or long rest. Extra attack. Because again, I'm designing this character really to be a very melee, like skirmishing pirate bard.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. Counter Charm. Ability score improvement. Let's see. I'm thinking this time dexterity. So we get another +1 to our AC. More expertise. So we could double our proficiency bonus and a skill every time we do this. And I'm thinking this time athletics and perception.
Sure.
Athletics because again we need that at the high seas, and then the perception because, well, you need to be able to spot enemies on the high seas.
Yeah. Don't want to get snuck up on the open ocean.
Well, it's like, it helps to fight the Kraken better when you can see the Kraken coming.
The sneaky bastards.
Yes.
Alright. Just a little bit of lace here and there and a few things on the dress.
Magical secrets. What spells do we want to give her?
Once I finish up the lace on parts of the dress, I'm going to move on to the coloring finally.
Nice. How do you feel about how it's coming so far?
I like it.
Right on.
This one's been a bit more difficult, but I'm definitely liking it. And as I'm looking at this, I'm just going to add lace to the rest of the dress because it just looks so much better. Which I know is going to take me a lot longer, but it's necessary.
I'm going to think Shape Water.
Yeah, that's a good spell.
It's going to be useful in the high seas. The spell does, as it describes, gives you the ability to shape and move water.
Was that the spell that was used to push a ship over on Critical Role? Or was that a different spell?
I can't remember. It might have been.
That spell is deadly on the open seas.
It very well can be.
It's like, pirate ship, turn to attacking. It's like, topsy-turvy, buddy.
And then Tidal Wave.
That'll change things real quick in a fight.
Oh, yes. Let's do an ability score improvement.
Charisma's already maxed out, so
and
probably...
so is Dex.
Dex, oh boy.
So now I'm going Constitution.
I'm not gonna get scurvy on this ship, no siree.
Right. Master's Flourish. Whenever you use a Blade Flourish, you can roll a d6 and use it instead of expending a Bardic Inspiration die. More Magic Secrets gives us more spells to pick from.
Use some Paladin spells? Like Thunderous Smite?
Ooh, Thunderous Smite? Let me see. I don't know if that's an option. Let's find out.
It should be.
Thunderous Smite, yeah.
Add some little extra oomph.
Well, we like
to
that
the whack.
thunder, right?
Yeah.
Never fight like a storm.
Gosh, I love bards. The class that keeps on giving.
Speaking of storm, what do you think of Storm Sphere?
Oh, hell yeah. Another magical secret thing?
Yep.
What is that from? The wizards?
I think so, yeah. And so it's a 20-foot sphere of
Where's it
whirling air springs into existence, centered on a point you choose within range. The sphere remains for the spell's duration. Each creature in the sphere, when it appears or that it ends its turn there, must succeed on a strength saving throw or take 2d6 bludgeoning damage. The sphere's space is difficult terrain.
Ooh.
Until the spell ends, you can use a bonus action on each of your turns to cause a bolt of lightning to leap from the sphere toward one creature you can choose within 60 feet of the sphere. Make a ranged spell attack. You have advantage on the attack roll if the target is in the sphere. On a hit, it takes 4d6 lightning damage.
Ooh. That's pretty good.
Oh yeah. It's a nasty one. Here. I'm going to increase ability scores again, and I'm going to still pump up that Constitution. I'd like her to have a good amount of hit points.
Making her beefy.
Yeah.
Because bars don't get a whole lot of hit points like other melee classes do.
It is true.
You have to work for that melee viability.
Absolutely.
I think that is lace on all of the dress.
Now, I have no point of reference. How hard is it to draw lace?
It's tedious.
It's tedious, yeah.
It's just a bunch of tiny little loops.
Oh, that's
Unless you
fun.
want to do complex lace, which we're not doing today. No siree. We've already been at this for an hour. No thanks.
Do you think Ice Storm is too much Storm at that point, or is that an appropriate additional spell?
I think at that point it's a theme.
At that point it's a theme? Like Stormbringer?
Ooh. That's a fun name.
Unfortunately, I think it's already taken.
It is?
Yeah.
Oh. In-game?
Isn't Stormbringer the name of Thor's axe? Right? Because Mjolnir's the hammer, but I thought Stormbringer was the axe.
I don't remember. If you're referring to Infinity... No, it's not Infinity War, is it?
Yeah, when he first gets the axe forged on
I
Nidavellir.
don't remember that movie because I checked out for that. I was very uninterested.
Hazel says, I like the idea that she's really sweet until you make her mad and then she brings the storm.
Ooh. I like it.
Let's see. So I'm playing off the storm theme. What else can I do here? You know what? I'm just going to go straight up lightning bolt at that point.
Zap.
Zap. With the final ability score improvement, I think justice dictates we add just a little bit of wisdom, so the hero's journey has made them wiser
No more negative modifiers.
for the path tread.
Finally. We've matured.
Now we get to pick all them other spells. So one more cantrip. But we were talking about potentially Thunderclap before. We can just take Thunderclap now.
Thunderclap now.
I'm just gonna... Actually, I'll go from level 9 back. And I'm just gonna look for anything that fits the theme of what we're trying to do here.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm on the coloring stage right now.
Very cool. I'm gonna give True Polymorph. The concept being, could polymorph into aquatic creature.
Oh.
Glibness. Until the spell ends, whenever you make a charisma check, you can replace the number you roll with a 15. Additionally, no matter what you say, magic that would determine if you are telling the truth indicates that you're being truthful. That would include things like Zone of Truth.
Oh, jeez.
And what a pirate thing to have, right?
With bards, being able to just say you rolled a 15 is absolutely dangerous, considering your
Absolutely.
modifiers can be a plus 15.
Yes.
So that means you're like, well, that's a 15 plus my modifier, so 30?
Yep.
It's like, great. God believes you.
That's a brutal thing, but that's level 20 for you.
Level 20, baby. Bards are dangerous.
Many people would say bards are dangerous in general. There's a lot of people that champion that bard is the most flexible D&D
It is
class.
absolutely. With magical secrets, it's just like whatever spell you want, which means you can build pretty much whatever kind of spellcaster you want from that.
We were playing into the sword wielder, so I'm going to give Mordenkainen's sword.
Sword. It's a sword.
So you create a sword-shaped plane of force that hovers within range. It lasts for the duration. When the sword appears, you may make a melee spell attack against a target of your choice within 5 feet of the sword. On a hit, the target takes 3d10 force damage. Until the spell ends, you can use a bonus action on each of your turns to move the sword up to 20 feet to a spot you can see and repeat this attack against the same target, or a different one. So it's like, we're in the middle of a skirmish, I'm fighting a lot of foes, and oh look, here's another sword.
Another one.
Just boom.
That's a pretty fun thing to do.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's like, I could use right now more swords. Ba-bam!
Well, good news. Here's more swords. Otto's Irresistible Dance, because it's one of my favorite bard spells, and honestly, at that point, you're a pirate, you're on the deck of the ship, our little Pastel Princess begins playing music, and then they just all start dancing.
I said it's a party. Dance. Get groovy
idea.
Or die.
I love that idea. Let's see. Find the path.
Never gonna get lost on the ocean, that's for sure.
And I think that's the whole thing behind that, right? Is we don't want to get lost at sea.
That's dangerous. Dangerous.
Mm-hmm. Oh man, I think there's a couple here that would fit. Let's start at the top. How many more do I have? Oh, I've got 7 more. 8 more. Well, there's legend lore, so you know stuff.
I love knowing stuff.
Mm-hmm.
As a DM, I enjoy that spell because it's like you would never have found out this specific bit of information otherwise. Mm-hmm. And I'm so happy to be able to tell you because, good God, someone needs to know.
There's skill empowerment. Your magic deepens a creature's understanding of its own talent. You touch one willing creature and give it expertise in one skill of your choice. Until the spell ends, the creature doubles its proficiency bonus for ability checks it makes using the chosen skill.
Ooh.
Let's see. I think... Yeah, I think locate creature would be a useful one. Definitely one we're going to grab. There may be times as a pirate that you are looking for a particular person, maybe a mutineer, aboard your ship. Or even just aboard your ship, somebody's hiding out.
Not for long.
One of the most interesting things, because we've run pirate campaigns before, and one of the things we found to be most interesting is how do you secure your ship? How do you know that there's no stowaways? Or how do you know that the enemy isn't actually aboard your ship? And when that question comes up...
It's fear.
Yeah. It's like the whole...
Your players are just like, oh no.
The call is coming from inside the house. That kind of moment where, having something like, well, we know this is the bad guy. Can I cast Locate Creature to see if they're aboard the ship?
He's 10 feet below you. Shit!
I'm also going to take Dimension Door because the idea that this Pastel Princess can just pop in and out is kind of cool.
Dimension Door is a fun spell. It's like, I need to be 500 feet that way.
Yes.
Right now.
Absolutely.
It's like, you can't outrun me. Unless you go to a different plane. In that case, I can't follow.
Motivational speech.
Obviously. Very bard.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's like the picture, like the Pastel Pirate's the one that gets up and rallies all of the other pirates to rise up against the enemy.
They're inspired. All the pirates are like, that's our girl.
Yeah.
That's her. Brings a tear to the last eye I have left.
Dispel Magic because it's got 1,000,001 uses when magic's involved.
Of course. It's one of those spells that you can obviously find a use for it.
Yeah.
Magic traps be damned.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Cloud of Daggers.
Ooh.
Just because it fits in line with that. I'm going to throw out blades over here. I'm going to throw blades over there. I'm going to have blades everywhere. And then I think Skywrite. You can cause up to 10 words to form in a part of the sky that you can see. So picture that you're on the open seas.
Mm-hmm.
You're trying to send a warning out to a ship that's passing by. Or maybe you've been abandoned on an island.
Yeah.
and you're trying to get picked up by a ship that's passing by. Being able to write that in the sky, very useful.
I agree with that.
And with that, we have our pirate spells picked out for our level 20 bard lady.
I'm gonna throw just a little bit of light blue in because the pink and the purple are very similar. It's becoming difficult to tell them apart when I'm coloring. I need some variety.
I mean, pastel blue is a very good color.
It is. It's a lovely color. I quite adore it.
It's like a robin's egg blue, right?
I was gonna say more of like a baby blue.
Oh, like a baby blue, okay. Very cool.
Pastels are often used in like baby colors. They just work very well, you know?
Alright. Well, here she is. Armor class 16, 183 hit points. Clocking in with 11 strength, 20 dexterity, 19 constitution, 14 intelligence, 11 wisdom, and 20 charisma.
Woo!
A powerhouse to be sure. A sweet +8 initiative. Highest, so we've got highest skills coming in at Persuasion with a +17. Survival, Perception, and Athletics all with a +12. Right after that.
Woo woo.
Mm-hmm.
God, I love bards.
All I'm saying is when this bard wants to play the bagpipes, they play the bagpipes.
You will hear me for miles. Down the ocean sound carries.
I'm digging this a lot. Alright, I'm going to do what I did last time too. I'm going to find 3 magic items that fit this character.
Obviously a bard instrument.
So lute was the primary instrument that Feyera mentioned?
Feyera, yeah.
Yep. Hazel says she's so cool with like 10 exclamation points. It's a lot of exclamation points.
What? God dang.
It's high praise. Alright, let's go to equipment. Let's get some magic items rolling in here. Oh, there's Das Lute.
Das Lute.
An instrument of the bards is an exquisite example of its kind, superior to ordinary instruments in every way. 7 types of these exist, each named after a legendary bard college.
Das is a bard college?
That's what I'm reading here. This is Das Lute.
I'd love to be part of the Das Bards College.
A creature that attempts to play the instrument without being attuned to it must succeed a DC 15 Wisdom save or take 2d4 psychic damage. So, unless you're attuned to this, you can't even play it without hurting yourself. You can use an action to play the instrument to cast one of its spells. Fly, Invisibility, Levitate, Protection from Good and Evil, Animal Friendship, Protection from Energy, Fire only, Protection from Poison. Once the instrument has been used to cast a spell, it can't be used to cast that spell again until dawn. And the spellcasting ability, and it uses your spellcasting ability and spell save DC. So in this case, the one that's based on Charisma for our bard.
What is her spell save DC? It's a level 20.
I will look that up in a second, and I will let you know. You can play the instrument while casting a spell that causes any of its targets to be charmed on a failed saving throw, thereby imposing disadvantage on the save. This effect applies only if the spell has a somatic or material component, because you're using the lute in that way.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think we're absolutely going to take Das Lute.
I enjoy the Das Lute. It is a good instrument.
It is. Let's see here. The next one I'm going to take for our little pirate princess is going to be the Cloak of the Manta Ray. Though I imagine that this cloak has been magically designed to be pastel in coloration.
Use an enchantment spell, it's like, I need it pink.
And so the Cloak of the Manta Ray, while wearing this cloak with its hood up, you can breathe underwater and have a swimming speed of 60 feet. Pulling the hood up or down requires an action.
It's a heavy hood.
Yep. But, you know, sometimes you fall overboard, and it's never a good thing to fall overboard. Alright. So I think this is very Pastel Pirate, but you tell me what you think.
Yeah.
Qual's feather token, swan boat.
Yes.
Right?
Absolutely. Is it one of those swan boats where it's like the pedals in the bottom, so you have to pedal?
And I'm adding a couple of these to the inventory, right? So it's like, this tiny object looks like a feather. You can use an action to touch the token to a body of water at least 60 feet in diameter. The token disappears and a 50-foot long, 20-foot wide boat shaped like a swan takes its place.
Love it.
The boat is self-propelled and moves across the water at a speed of 6 miles an hour. You can use an action while on the boat to command it to move or turn up to 90 degrees. The boat can carry up to 32 medium or small creatures.
It's a big swan boat.
Yes. A large creature counts as 4 medium creatures, while a huge creature counts as 9. The boat remains for 24 hours and then disappears.
So stupid. I love it.
So I'm giving her a couple of these because I'm like, in case you ever get stuck without a boat, you're a pirate who can create their own boat.
You will have a boat.
Hazel says, yes, swan boat.
Swan boat.
Can she keep the swan boat forever? So unfortunately not, but I've given a couple of tokens so that she's got multiple chances to have the swan boat. I can add a boat, if you want to add a forever boat, though.
Forever boat.
We can add a folding boat.
Find your forever boat today at foreverboat.com. That's not a real thing, I hope.
So the folding boat is a boat that literally folds out. Let's see, how much can I zoom in here on this art, right? So that our friends in the chat can see. It literally is a box that folds out into a boat, and I'd like to think that on the canvas of this boat, Feyera could design it to look like whatever she'd like. So it could be painted with pastel colors. It could be painted to have swans on the side, or even unicorns. I mean, whatever you want to have at that point.
Yes.
Hazel says, I would like a forever pretty pastel boat. Well, there we go. We have one, and it's all yours.
'Tis all yours, Hazzelhalfblood.
I still don't think I've actually hit 3 items that require attunement.
Yeah, the tokens don't require attunement.
They don't, so I think I actually need one
Armor?
more item to have attunement.
Yeah. Mariner's armor?
We
Leather?
gave Mariner's armor to our last D&D character. I kind of want to try to avoid repeats if I can.
Isn't there like a sparkling armor thing?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Glittering armor? The glimmering armor?
Glimmering, yep.
That feels like it'd fit.
Armor of Gleaming.
Gleaming, yeah. It never gets dirty or something. Is that attunement?
I don't believe it is.
Oh, then never mind.
Also, I think it only applies to... I don't think it applies to leather armor. Yeah, it does not apply to leather armor.
Where's the fun in that?
Right? But, you know, we can figure this out. We'll definitely find something that works. Let's make this an uncommon, but proficiently magic leather armor. There's the Mariners. We could give any kind of resistance that we want on armor. So they take half damage from particular sources. Let's see. We could just give armor that's... Well, Glamored. Glamored.
What's Glamored do?
Glamored. While wearing this armor, you gain a +1 bonus to AC. You can also use a bonus action to speak the armor's command word.
Ooh.
And cause the armor to assume the appearance of a normal set of clothing or some other kind of armor.
Oh.
You decide what it looks like, including color, style, and accessories.
Yes, that.
Yes, of course.
She can be a pretty princess without having to sacrifice the glam.
I think that is our winning choice right there for armor. And you know what I didn't do is I didn't give an enchanted weapon, did I?
Not. What kind of rapiers are there?
Let's take a peek. Under that hood. We could give her the Hellfire Rapier.
No. Hard no.
I know. I wonder... Yeah, here it is. This is the winner right here. The Dancing Rapier.
Ooh.
You can use a bonus action to toss this magic sword into the air and speak the command word. When you do so, the sword begins to hover and flies up to 30 feet and attacks one creature of your choice within 5 feet of it. So, just another sword that can be tossed out as a blade that fights beside what is rapidly becoming a one-person pirate ship, as I'm looking at it.
A one-man band, but it's a boat.
Ooh, where this
I like this look so far. I'm going to start putting in the color for the lace, and then I'm going to move on to shading, I think.
Smart. Okay. Viewing character sheet. Well, our sweet Pastel Princess has an 18 armor class now.
Woo!
Mm-hmm. Very nice. And very well stacked, I mean, in terms of actions, attacks, things that can be done here.
A very well-made bard pirate.
Mm-hmm. Honestly, would not be a bad, like, BBEG type character either if you take the level 20 character. You could build a whole campaign around a pirate queen.
But why would you want to fight her?
Oh, I would never want to fight her. I would be terrified.
Sure,
you
could.
Kidding?
Sure, fight her. Physically, you could do that, but emotionally, at what cost? At what cost?
I love the concept of this marshmallow bad guy.
I adore this.
Somebody I could end up fighting.
Can't wait to be done with this so you can see the finished product.
All right.
Actually, if you want, you can come over and have a look in a minute when I'm done with the lace, so you can see before I start shading.
I do have it up here. I've been able to look at some of what you've been doing. It's on a tiny screen, so I don't get a full view of it. But I do see the pink and the blue.
Yeah, we're lacing up this skirt.
Very nice. I cannot wait to see it in its full glory.
Mm-hmm. I can zoom out in a second once I'm done with the lace. I just want to get that thing done before I move on.
Right on. So Unseen Servant and Skywrite. Oh, I didn't know Skywrite was a ritual spell. That's wicked handy.
Yeah, just take a minute.
Yeah.
Move the clouds around.
I mean, imagine if Feyera becomes like the fleet commander at that point, right? The Commodore. Being able to send messages between ships becomes as simple as taking the time to do a ritual.
And also your enemies are going to be able to see it as well.
That's true. You wouldn't do anything that's sensitive, but...
Yeah.
You know, if you were like, hey, the bad guy's over there, you could just write, hey, the bad guy's on that island. The bad guy's on the island. He's got no way to go.
He's being like, oh no.
Yeah.
I've been had.
Or like a SOS. You kind of don't care who sees the SOS as long as somebody does save your ship.
Alright, so I have the full color. I'm going to move on to the shading in just a second.
Fantastic. How do you feel about it?
I like it.
I'm going to actually stand up and I want to see the...
Get over here and have a look-see.
Yeah, I think so. Oh, yeah. I love the face, too.
Mm-hmm.
Like, she definitely looks like somebody who stumbled aboard the pirate ship.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I just realized I forgot the flower crown that's supposed to go on her head.
Oh, she has a flower crown?
Hold on, I can go add that right now.
That's cool. I love the layers of fabric around the waist.
Yeah, because said it was supposed to be like a mishmash, so like they add extra layers every time they.
Yeah, totally.
That was the.
Is that? Oh yeah, so that's the way it's tied around the neck. I like that.
Well, that wasn't what I was supposed to do.
Very cool.
Full line art layer.
Now I will edit one more thing.
We'll get to the shading eventually. Alright, that's good enough.
Hazel says the color is perfect.
Thank you. Quite like flower crowns as things to add onto D&D characters. I think they're just thematically a really fun thing to do, considering that oftentimes if your character gets high enough level, you are just a monster at the flower crown at that point. It's such a fun thing. It's like, oh, look at her, she's so adorable with her flower crown. And that's several tens of damage in one hit. It's like, ah, she wasn't a baby. No babies on this pirate ship, no siree. Why does it keep doing that? Okay, that's good enough, I think. Wasn't what I wanted.
So I have a starting of a poem, Cait. Would you like to hear it?
I would absolutely like to hear it.
The unicorns of House Clair charge forth upon the prairie. But can they dare upon the sea, as does Feyera fairly? Her colors gleam as one who is but peaceful and serene. But echo thunder of the storm, woe to those who see her mien. The pirate's taste for blood comes out, and fury of the sea sees those who wrong this Pastel Princess trapped in agony.
God damn.
That's the start.
I love it.
Ooh, Hazel says that's a very cute flower crown.
Thank you. I almost forgot about it. I'm so sorry.
It does add a certain something,
Yeah.
I will say.
Bit more whimsy. And now we're finally shading it.
Woohoo! We're throwing shade.
Don't test me, Jeremy. Don't tempt me like this.
No, I won't test you, Cait. I think that's a test you'll absolutely pass. Okay, I just wrote the next stanza and it's absolutely fucking ridiculous. Do you want to hear it?
Yes.
Her roar is as the billowing wind, her words cut sharp as daggers. She'll see you gutted like a fish and drink a pint with swagger. It's a very pirate thing, right?
Absolutely. We cannot forget that this girl is a pirate. No matter how cute and pastel she
Absolutely not.
is. If you forget, you'll get shanked.
So Hazel asked where she could find the character sheet. We're actually moving where we've been putting all of the content up. Starting tomorrow, you'll be able to find everything on geekydoom.com. So geekydoom.com.
Mm-hmm. Because we're adding a lot of content to our other website, so it made sense just to have everything for this somewhere else.
And it's going to be a full archive, so you'll actually be able to go through and view all of the characters that we've made from past streams and every character that we'll be making for future streams going forward.
They're all going to be available for anyone who wants to look at them and use their character sheets and the art.
All the ships upon the sea, they fear her colors pastel and pink. It's as the black spot upon the palm. They mean your ship will sink.
Ooh. A new age of piracy. God, it's pastel pink. We're gonna die. That's a fun idea. A new thing for pirates to be afraid of when level 20 Feyera becomes a pirate queen.
So fear and take heart, for you, or for her. There it is, okay. So fear and take heart, for her stock of mercy runneth low. Avoid her ship the opal heart, or to the bottom of the sea you'll go.
Mm-hmm.
And there it is, the full poem. Built right into the character sheet.
Heck yeah.
I think I spelled prairie wrong, but that just means I have to go back and rewatch Little House on the Prairie.
Is that really a bad thing?
Oh, I've never watched it to begin with, so I couldn't even tell you.
Oh. Alright.
I mean, I watched it, but it was years ago. Not throw up a false image until I have your art for her. And voila. The character sheet is finito.
Ooh. I'm still shading. It's gonna be a while.
No worries. Well, I love what you're doing with the hair with shading right now.
Mm-hmm. Some little highlights.
Yeah. It's looking nice.
Alright, done with that. I'm gonna pop over to the dress now. More of an intense pink for the shading.
So while Cait's working on the shading, anybody who has any ideas for characters they'd like to see in future streams, on geekydoom.com we also have a link for you to submit your character concepts. Mm-hmm. We accept concepts for both mutants and masterminds and Dungeons and Dragons. You can be as verbose in your description or as light as you want. The more detail you give us, the less Cait and I get to make up as we go. Mm-hmm. So you get to decide whether that's a good thing or a bad thing.
Yeah.
But we try to switch it out every other week so that 1 week is Dungeons and Dragons and 1 week is Mutants and Masterminds. Mm-hmm.
And what editions do we do for Mutants and D&D?
D&D is for 5th edition and Mutants and Masterminds is 3rd.
Very important. Huh. Well, that's not good.
What?
It's not working.
Oh no.
It's not working. There it is. Okay.
Technical difficulties. You gotta love it.
Gotta undo all those squiggles I just did.
So go back through and double check everything, make sure everything is the way that I want it to be. Mm-hmm. And then I'm going to export this sheet as well, so that both sheets will be available on geekydoom.com starting tomorrow morning.
Mm-hmm.
Thunder Smite. Oh, that's why it's concentration, because you can channel the Thunder Smite for up to a minute before it's...
Yeah, you can hold it up until you hit something.
That's nice. I like that.
So you don't waste the spell.
It's a little more charged than the True Strike we were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
What would you say your favorite cantrip is, Cait?
My favorite cantrip? Just for utility, I like Prestidigitation.
I like that.
I remember last campaign I did a wizard, and we pretty much used Prestidigitation to like dry our clothes and keep blood off of us.
Yeah, you know.
Because we kept getting into fights and we were nobles, so we're like, we can't go around with blood on us. Let me just no more blood.
That makes sense. I'm a big fan of Firebolt.
Yeah.
But I like to have that, like, the I don't know. I almost picture it like the guy with, like, the ray gun. So that's what it is. Like, I don't cast Firebolt, like, with my wizard without making this symbol and aiming the Firebolt and...
Pew pew!
But, you know, it's like, it's always nice to have that burst of damage at the ready.
Yeah. Yeah, damaging spells are all nice and dandy, but sometimes it's nice to have a bit of utility. Life isn't always a fight.
Well, sometimes things are also immune to fire. Like, I fully recognize that.
A lot of things are immune to fire.
It's true.
Particularly devils. The fuckers.
Or, you know, fire elementals, red dragons, all those guys.
Very common creatures. Fire's a very common type in D&D. We are getting very close to being the end of time.
Oh, we are.
Not like the end of the world end of time, I mean the end of our stream.
No, the world ended in 2012.
This is all a dream.
That's right.
You have to wake up. You can't keep being in this coma forever.
Alright, I think we're good here, so I'm actually going to export this character sheet.
I think it's a bit too intense for this. Sure, I'm gonna lower the opacity on that level, which will soften it a bit.
Zoom in a little. There we go. I do think it's interesting the way the character sheet sometimes exports from D&D Beyond.
Yeah.
Sometimes the font, because there's just so many things that get added, squeezes really tiny.
That can be, but you can still copy and paste it out if you need to look at it bigger.
A 22 passive perception is intense.
You see everything. Oh?
No, 22 is absolutely intense. see here. What I do like about it that they do, though, as you export the character sheet, is it gives you a point of reference to what handbook each ability comes from and the page number for that handbook.
That is pretty useful.
So if you need to go back to the source material, say that you're in a place where you can't run the character from D&D Beyond's website, you have to have a printout copy. Or maybe you're somebody who prefers the printout copy. I myself prefer to have paper and pen rather than computer when I can help it.
Nothing wrong with that either.
Being able to flip through the book is kind of nice. And sometimes these things are more verbose in the book.
Mm-hmm. You can usually look at like specific wording of how something is phrased.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very noisy cat in this room.
Efficiency, man. Very cool. Absolutely love that. Now you've DM'd quite a bit, right?
I've DM'd, I think, 2.5 campaigns because one of them.
2.5?
Because one of them didn't get finished.
Oh,
Two of them.
That happens a lot.
2 of them got to completion. One of them did not get finished because one of the players couldn't show up, and then we all just couldn't make it to session. So we're like, all right, I guess this one's done.
What is your opinion on things like encumbrance rules? Do you track encumbrance, or is that something you'd see yourself tracking?
I don't, because it just feels it feels like it detracts from the fun sometimes, depending on the campaign. The ones I've run, it doesn't really matter. It hasn't been like a problem, so it's like, why bother? It just feels like they're like, oh, I have to keep track of how much these random items I picked up weigh. Sometimes the random item is a whole skeleton of an actual animated skeleton who was trying to kill them.
Somebody who picked up a skeleton?
They picked up a skeleton and put it in their bag of holding because they're like, we can use this for later. They didn't use it later. They realized we have no use for this, and they dumped it into a river.
That's fantastic.
While there was a giant ogre wandering around, they're like, well, this is a stealth mission, but hold on, let me dump the skeleton real quick. They almost died on that mission because they weren't... It was supposed to be an encounter they'd lose if they tried to fight. Which is sometimes good to have.
Totally. So the spells does the same thing. I don't know if you know this. I don't know how often you export sheets from D&D Beyond.
No.
But I just found this out. When you export the sheet, it has the source book for the spell.
Ooh.
And the page for the spell, which is great because it doesn't give a verbose description in the printout for the spell. So
that's
having
sometimes nice.
The quick lookup is nice, yeah. I love that. True polymorph. What a terrifying spell.
So would you like to be a mouse forever? No, I actually wouldn't.
Blade Flourish. Whenever you take the attack action on your turn, your walking speed increases by 10 feet until the end of the turn.
It's like a spinning top, but with knives.
Defense Flourish, Slashing Flourish, and Evil Flourish. That's a fun focus. I really like that, and I think it makes a lot of sense for the pirates, so I'm glad we chose that one. So it looks like we are very nearly out of time. We're down to 1 minute remaining, Cait. But as always, guys, if we don't finish everything on stream, you can absolutely find it at geekydoom.com starting the very next day. We usually stream on Sundays, so Monday morning you should be able to find everything online. We've been putting all of these videos on YouTube as well, so you can find us on our YouTube channel, geekydoom. And also on Google Podcasts and Apple Podcasts by the same name.
Yeah.
So I think we're going to finish up here.
Yeah, I'll finish up the shading as well, so the final version will be uploaded along with the character sheet.
Fantastic. Well, thank you guys for joining us. I hope you guys have a wonderful week, and we will see you next time.
Yeah.
Take care.
Bye-bye.